I don't understand the comments on the Typhon missile system. We don't make any comments on their missile systems, and their missile systems are 1,000 times more powerful than what we have. Let's make a deal with China. Stop claiming our territory. Stop harassing our fishermen and let them have a living. Stop ramming our boats. Stop water cannoning our people. Stop firing lasers at us. And stop your aggressive and coercive behavior. And I'll return the Typhon missiles.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, welcomed reports that the U.S. may deploy a second Typhoon missile system in the country, which would enhance their training and capabilities.
The United States, it has placed a missile system in the Philippines as tensions with China go up. A missile system that can fire cruise missiles with range exceeding 1,600 kilometers, missiles that can basically strike targets directly in China. Is the U.S. preparing for war with China?
China is objecting to a plan by the Philippines to acquire the U.S.-made Typhon missile system.
A new phase of great power competition is unfolding. Not in the deep blue waters of the South China Sea, but on the rugged plains of northern Luzon. The quiet arrival of America's Typhon mid-range capability missile system in 2024 marks the most significant strategic shift in U.S.-Philippine relations in decades, turning the archipelago into a forward launch point in Washington's Indo-Pacific Deterrence network. The deployment, made possible by the post-INF Treaty era and the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA, places U.S. precision missiles within range of China's coastal military infrastructure. A deterrent in American eyes, but a provocation in Beijing's. The system's reach now spans from the Luzon Strait to Hainan, redefining how far and how fast conflict could spread across the region. For China, this move has set off alarms. For Manila, it has ignited debate. While U.S. officials describe the Typhon as a defensive stabilizer, Chinese leaders have warned it could destabilize Asia and ignite a missile race.
关于美国在菲律宾部署中岛，中方已经多次阐明了坚决反对的严正立场。我想再次强调，菲方引入中岛系统这一战略性、进攻性武器，是配合域外势力制造地区紧张对立、挑动地缘对抗和军备竞赛的挑衅和危险举动，是对本国和东南亚各国人民、历史和地区安全极不负责任的选择。本地区需要和平与繁荣，不需要中岛和对抗。我们再次敦促菲方正视地区国家和人民呼声，尽早纠正错误做法，按照此前公开承诺，尽快撤走低风中岛系统，不要在错误的道路上越走越远。
Philippine officials, led by Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr., insist that the decision is an act of sovereignty, not subservience, even as critics warn it risks making the country a frontline target.
China reacted. Why don't they look at their own offensive missile capabilities and remove it, destroy their nuclear weapons, and vacate Mischief Reef and get out of the West Philippine Sea?
Yes, sir.
Beyond the politics, the Typhon deployment is a symbol of the new Indo-Pacific reality, where alliances are being tested, deterrence is being recalibrated, and geography itself has become a weapon. It strengthens Manila's hand, but also raises its exposure, offering both protection and peril. In short, the Philippines has stepped onto the missile map of Asia, not just as an ally, but as a pivotal player in the region's evolving balance of power. The missiles are silent, but their presence speaks volumes. The Indo-Pacific's next contest won't just be fought at sea or in the sky, it may begin on Philippine soil. The deployment of U.S. mid-range missiles to the Philippines cannot be understood in isolation. It's part of a much bigger global and regional shift. The roots of this decision go back to 2019, when the United States withdrew from the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces, INF, Treaty. That Cold War-era agreement, signed in 1987, banned land-based missiles with ranges between 500 and 5,500 kilometers. For decades, it kept the US and Russia from deploying such systems. Once Washington left the treaty, however, it gained the freedom to develop a new generation of land-based intermediate-range missiles, or GBIRMs. The Typhon Mid-Range Capability, MRC, system is a direct product of that new post-INF environment, a weapon designed to fill the long-absent gap in America's missile arsenal and re-establish a credible deterrent against rising powers like China. In the Indo-Pacific, this shift fits neatly into Washington's broader military strategy. The U.S. is no longer focused solely on aircraft carriers and long-range bombers. It is now building a distributed network of missile and sensor systems across allied territories. The Typhon system's deployment to the Philippines is a core part of this strategy, tied to the creation of multi-domain task forces, MDTFs, specialized U.S. Army units designed to integrate intelligence, cyber, space, and missile capabilities into one fighting network. The Pentagon plans to establish at least 3 MDTFs in the Pacific by 2027, each equipped with long-range precision weapons that can quickly respond to a crisis involving China.
These forces represent the cutting edge of the U.S. military's new posture. Flexible, mobile, and built for fast, coordinated action across domains. Legally and diplomatically, the missile deployment is made possible through the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA, between the United States and the Philippines. Originally signed in 2014, EDCA allows American forces to rotate troops, store defense equipment, and build facilities at designated Philippine military bases, without establishing permanent U.S. bases. The agreement expanded significantly in 2023, when both countries agreed to 4 new EDCA sites, including key locations in Cagayan and Isabela in northern Luzon. These sites, positioned near the South China Sea and the Taiwan Strait, have become central to Washington's Indo-Pacific strategy. They serve as vital logistical hubs
And potential missile launch areas, giving the U.S. and its allies strategic depth while keeping operations technically within Philippine sovereignty. In essence, the Typhon deployment sits at the intersection of policy, strategy, and geography. Freed from old treaty limits, guided by a new Indo-Pacific vision, and enabled by bilateral agreements, the U.S. has placed one of its most advanced missile systems on the doorstep of the world's most contested waters. For the Philippines, it underscores the growing weight of its alliance with Washington and the delicate balance of hosting deterrence without becoming a battlefield.
The U.S. Army's Typhon Mid-Range Capability, MRC, system represents one of the most significant technological and strategic leaps in the modern Indo-Pacific theater. Compact yet powerful, the Typhon is a ground-based missile launcher built to fire 2 of the U.S. military's most versatile weapons, the Standard Missile 6, SM-6, and the Tomahawk Land Attack Missile, TLAM. Together, they give the system both defensive and offensive punch, a combination few land-based systems in the world can match. The SM-6 provides the Typhon with flexible air defense and anti-ship capabilities. It can intercept incoming aircraft, cruise missiles, and even certain types of ballistic missiles, while also being used to strike enemy warships at extended ranges. The Tomahawk, on the other hand, is a long-range precision strike missile, the same class of weapon the U.S. Navy has used for decades to hit strategic targets hundreds of miles inland. When launched from land, the Tomahawk's range is estimated to exceed 1,500 kilometers, allowing it to strike high-value targets such as radar sites, missile batteries, and logistics hubs deep inside enemy territory. By combining these 2 systems, Typhon becomes a dual-role weapon, capable of both defending Allied forces and attacking key enemy positions, all from a mobile land platform that can be repositioned within hours. The Typhon's first operational appearance in the Philippines came during exercise Salaknib 2024, a large-scale U.S.-Philippine joint military drill. In April 2024, a Typhon battery from the U.S. Army's 1st Multi-Domain Task Force, MDTF, was deployed to an airfield in northern Luzon, marking the first ever overseas deployment of the system. What was initially billed as a temporary training mission soon evolved into something more enduring. By September 2024, defense officials from both Washington and Manila reportedly agreed to keep the Typhon system stationed in the northern Philippines indefinitely, at least until the next major exercise cycle under Balakatan. This move quietly signaled the start of a long-term U.S. missile presence on Philippine soil, one that could redefine the regional balance of power.
From a strategic perspective, the Typhon's location in northern Luzon is no coincidence. The area sits roughly 700 kilometers from Taiwan and lies directly along the Luzon Strait, a key maritime corridor connecting the Pacific Ocean to the South China Sea. According to U.S. Army assessments, the Typhon's reach from this position covers not only the entire Luzon Strait, but also extends to China's southern coastline, including military bases in Hainan, Guangdong, and Fujian provinces. This means that, for the first time, U.S. ground-launched missiles based in the Philippines can directly target Chinese installations and naval assets, effectively placing portions of the People's Liberation Army's PLA Southern Command within striking range. In military terms, it transforms the northern Philippines into a forward launch zone, one capable of defending Taiwan, deterring China, and securing maritime choke points critical to regional stability. The deployment of Typhon in Luzon, therefore, is more than a tactical move. It's a strategic statement. It symbolizes the return of U.S. land-based firepower to the Western Pacific and underscores the Philippines' new role as a frontline hub in the regional defense network. For Manila, it's both an opportunity and a responsibility. Hosting one of America's most advanced missile systems strengthens deterrence, but also places the nation squarely within the theater of great power competition.
Remain inside of that target area. These areas to include Area Charlie, which is short of the target area. Fire mission. Fire mission.
Number 2, 1 round.
Number 2, 1 round.
The deployment of the U.S. Typhon mid-range capability, MRC, missile system in the Philippines has set off a wave of reactions that span from Beijing's diplomatic outrage to heated debates within Manila's political circles. What was framed by Washington and Manila as a defensive measure to strengthen regional deterrence has instead become a symbol of how the Indo-Pacific balance of power is rapidly shifting, and how the Philippines, willingly or not, is now at the center of it. From China's perspective, the deployment represents a direct and alarming threat. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi described the move as destabilizing, accusing the U.S. of bringing dangerous weapons to the doorstep of Asia. His warning was amplified by Chinese state media, with outlets such as the Global Times publishing scathing editorials that called the deployment a reckless provocation that could ignite an arms race in the region. Chinese analysts argued that by placing land-based cruise and ballistic missiles in the Philippines, Washington was effectively turning the country into a forward launch pad for operations against China. Some even went further, suggesting that the Typhon system might violate international arms control norms, such as the Missile Technology Control Regime, MTCR, because of its strike range and dual-use capabilities. Beijing's outrage reflects both strategic anxiety and historical sensitivity. The Philippines' northern Luzon region, where the Typhon battery is located, lies barely 700 kilometers from China's southern coast. This puts major military facilities in Hainan, Guangdong, and Fujian provinces well within reach of U.S. precision-guided missiles. For the People's Liberation Army, PLA, the deployment erases the geographical buffer that once kept the Chinese mainland relatively insulated from American land-based firepower. As one Chinese defense commentator noted bluntly, the United States has built a missile fence around us, and the Philippines has become one of its posts. Manila, however, has not stayed silent. Philippine Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr. was quick to dismiss Beijing's warnings, describing them as interference in our internal affairs. He accused China of employing reverse psychology, trying to shame or pressure the Philippines into standing down, while continuing to expand its own military presence in the South China Sea. Teodoro emphasized that the Typhon system's presence is both legal and defensive, operating under the framework of the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA.
Why are they picking on a country which is seeking to strengthen its credible deterrent posture while they have full offensive ballistic and other capabilities? And how can a country which is seeking to protect its exclusive economic zone from unlawful aggression a cause of instability in the Indo-Pacific area?
We are strengthening our deterrence posture, not provoking anyone. he told reporters. Our alliances exist to prevent war, not to start one. Echoing that sentiment, Armed Forces of the Philippines, AFP, Chief of Staff General Romeo Bronner Jr. voiced strong support for the Typhon's continued presence, even suggesting it should remain in the country forever as part of the national defense posture. He clarified that his statement was a technical fact, not bravado, explaining that the system's range makes it a key deterrent asset that could protect not only the Philippines, but also allied interests in the wider region. Bronner's remarks underscored the AFP's evolving doctrine that deterrence is not about confrontation, but about preparedness, ensuring that any aggressor knows the cost of escalation will be unacceptably high.
However, the issue has not been without domestic controversy. The missile deployment has reignited internal political divisions over the Philippines' deepening defense alignment with the U.S. Former President Rodrigo Duterte's allies have been among the most vocal critics. Representative Paulo Duterte, the former leader's son, accused General Bronner of being trigger-happy and warned that such statements could put ordinary Filipinos at risk of becoming collateral in a potential U.S.-China confrontation. You don't defend the country by painting a target on its back, Duterte said in a televised interview, reflecting a persistent fear among some sectors that the Philippines could once again become a pawn in superpower rivalries. The tension illustrates a long-standing dilemma in Philippine security policy: the balance between alliance-driven deterrence and the risk of entanglement in great power conflict. Despite these internal debates, the Typhon's deployment aligns squarely with the Philippines' ongoing military modernization and defense reform goals. Under the AFP Modernization Program Horizon 3, Manila has prioritized building its own missile and precision strike capabilities. The Philippine Army recently activated its first missile battalion, tasked with operating long-range systems, while the Philippine Navy has begun integrating BrahMos supersonic anti-ship missiles from India into its coastal defense force. These efforts mark a clear transition from reliance on allies to the pursuit of independent deterrence, where the Philippines can project power within its maritime domain and protect its exclusive economic zone, EEZ, without always calling for external support. In this broader context, the Typhon system is more than a U.S. weapon on Philippine soil. It's a symbol of a new defense era. For Washington, it signals a restored capacity to field land-based missiles across Asia after decades of treaty restrictions. For Manila, it represents both a shield and a test. A shield against coercion, and a test of its ability to manage alliance commitments without losing strategic autonomy. And for Beijing, it's a challenge. Proof that its expanding influence is now meeting coordinated resistance, not just from across the sea, but from the land itself. The Philippines now stands at a crossroads. Hosting the Typhon gives it unprecedented leverage and security assurances, but it also raises the stakes. As the region enters a new phase of missile competition and strategic signaling, one truth has become clear: the era of distance and buffer zones is over. The Indo-Pacific's flashpoints are closer than ever, and the Philippines, by geography and by choice, has become part of the front line.
Any essential freedom navigation
The deployment of the U.S. Typhon Mid-Range Capability, MRC, system in the Philippines marks the fulfillment of a long-standing American strategic objective: to re-establish a credible land-based intermediate-range strike capability in Asia after decades of restrictions under the now-defunct INF Treaty. In essence, this move restores a vital leg of U.S. deterrence in the Indo-Pacific, aimed squarely at countering China's anti-access, area denial, A2, AD, strategy. A network of missiles, radars, and naval assets designed to keep U.S. and allied forces out of China's near seas. By hosting the Typhon, the Philippines has given Washington an ideal geographic foothold to project power and neutralize Chinese military advantages across the Luzon Strait and the South China Sea. For the United States, this deployment closes a critical capability gap and signals to Beijing that its military expansion will no longer go unchallenged. For Manila, however, it is a far more delicate equation. While the Typhon undeniably strengthens the Philippines' deterrence posture and deepens its alliance with Washington, it also introduces the risk of entrapment, the danger that the Philippines could be drawn into a major conflict not of its own making. In a crisis involving Taiwan or the South China Sea, the presence of U.S. missiles on Philippine soil could turn the country into an immediate military target. The irony is clear. The very weapons meant to deter aggression could one day make the Philippines the first to feel its consequences.
This reality underscores the difficult balance at the heart of Philippine foreign policy. The effort to safeguard national sovereignty while managing the responsibilities of alliance.
The Typhon system's indefinite or even permanent stationing effectively transforms the Philippines into a strategic launch point in the US-China rivalry, giving it unprecedented relevance in regional security, but also unprecedented exposure to risk. In the evolving chessboard of the Indo-Pacific, Manila now finds itself both protected and vulnerable, empowered yet constrained. Ultimately, the Typhon's presence is both a shield and a spotlight, a symbol of the Philippines' new strategic importance and the weight that comes with it. As great power competition intensifies, the challenge for Manila will be to wield that importance wisely, to ensure that deterrence does not turn into entrapment, and that its alliances serve as instruments of peace, not preludes to conflict. If you liked the video, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe our channel for deep analysis of contemporary issues.